I'm SD, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the seam allowance. Mainly because according to my analytics, well, you're most likely a guy who's just so tired of wearing baggy clothes and you're thinking about getting into tailoring. But you're kind of sort of confused as to what it is and like what you do with it. And I'm really excited about this one. I'm excited about this one because the sewing world has so many terms and just technical jargon that make it so intimidating and just really kind of hard to grasp and just want to start doing. Now, when you tailor a garment, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a t-shirt, a dress shirt, chinos, jeans, a jacket, does not matter. What you're going to do is you are going to put a straight stitch on there. And what that straight stitch is going to do is it's going to give that garment just such a much more flattering appearance on you. But what about that original stitch? You know, the original seam that came from the factory, and what about the edge of your garment? Well, that's where the term seam allowance comes into play. Because what a seam allowance is all it is the distance between the edge of your garment, let's say the edge of your t-shirt, and that new straight stitch that you just put on there. And again, that straight stitch looks like 1,000 times better on you than that old one did. Ooh, that's for sure. And you might be thinking, okay, well, why do I need to care? Why does it matter? Why does it matter like what that distance is? Like, I don't get it. I'm SD, and if you're new, I like to show guys like you how to tailor their own clothes at home. So if that sounds like your jam, be sure to click that subscribe button down below. Well, it matters because you want to have full control over how much or how big that distance is. If there's too much space in there, or if I should say, if that distance is too wide, you're not going to ruin your garment. You're not going to ruin your project, but what you're going to end up doing is having like a big flap of fabric kind of just flopping around. You're going to be like, sweet, awesome, this is itchy, this is dumb, there's a thunderstorm outside while I'm trying to film, hopefully you can't hear the thunder. Why didn't I make my seam allowance smaller? And see, here's the tricky part to where you can run into some problems and ruin things, and by that I mean, well, okay, you're not gonna ruin anything if your seam allowance is too big, but if your seam allowance is too small, that's a big old no bueno from me. But let's back it up a little bit. When we put a new straight stitch on our garment, what we're going to do is, well, we're gonna cut off all that extra fabric. We're not gonna leave it on there. So cutting it off is the name of the game. But see, the problem with cutting it off, well, that means that we're now gonna have what's called a raw edge, and a raw edge is just exposed fibers in your garment. They don't like this. They don't like to be cut. Because when they go like this, they just end up fraying on you. You don't want that. Ends up all over the inside of your washing machine. Your significant other will get so mad at you when she goes to go and do laundry and she sees all these little red fibers on the inside of the washing machine. Like, yo, hey, you want to like let me know if you're gonna tailor your own clothes at home? Because then I won't wash my work clothes that I need to wear in like 3 hours. My bad, babe. So when you cut that seam allowance, if you cut that seam allowance or that distance, again, between that new stitch that we made in the edge of our garment, if it's too small, you're not gonna have enough space on there to adequately finish your garment. And finishing just means like sealing off that edge, so again, it doesn't just go poof and you get in trouble. And how much space do we need and how wide should that distance be? Well, technically 5/8 of an inch, which I believe is, hang on, let me look it up really quick. Oh, sweet, Kirk Cousins is doing well in training camp. Awesome. Go Vikings! Okay, Google, how big is 5/8 of a seam? Wait, shoot, what are we You serious? How big is 5/8 of an inch?
The answer is 0.625 inches.
Now you know. So now when you go watch that video in the end card of how to taper your own jeans at home, you know exactly how wide or how not so wide your seam allowance should be in order to adequately finish those jeans so they don't go poof in the washing machine. You're welcome. That's all I got for you. SD out. See ya.